This is Matthew Cratter from Bitcoin University, and today I wanted to talk about the Bitcoin mining race that's underway between nation states, in particular Oman, as we have learned recently. We've been covering this nation-state race to mine Bitcoin for a few years now. We've seen how Bitcoin mining continues to take place in China, even after the Chinese ban of Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. We've covered how El Salvador is now mining Bitcoin using geothermal energy from volcanoes. We've covered how the Kingdom of Bhutan has been Bitcoin mining for, I think, since 2020, and they've recently increased the amount that they're spending and the amount that they're mining, as I covered in this video about Bhutan mining that I'll link to in the description notes below. We know that Russia is very big into Bitcoin mining as well. And then recently we just learned that Oman has the plan to invest over $1 billion into Bitcoin mining infrastructure, and they're going to be mining Bitcoin as well, joining these other nation states. For Oman, 30% of GDP and 70% of government revenue still rely on crude oil. And so by moving into Bitcoin mining, Oman is diversifying both its revenue streams and its holdings of physical commodities like oil, and now diversifying into digital commodities rather than just physical commodities like oil. If you're enjoying this video so far, I just ask you to hit that subscribe button. So Oman will be using wasted flared gas as well as new sources of hydro energy to create the electricity used to power these Bitcoin mining rigs. But there are actually even bigger implications to this Bitcoin mining race, and that is this, that Oman has concluded that Bitcoin is compliant with the laws of Islamic finance and with Sharia law. This is a quote from that Forbes article. Given Oman's conservative nature and its emphasis on Islamic law, introducing a concept as disruptive as Bitcoin mining required significant deliberation. But after rigorous regulatory discussions that started back in 2019, the government of Oman eventually found Bitcoin to be in line with Islamic law. I think this is quite huge, and as I've been saying for years, Bitcoin is freedom money for people everywhere, for all 8 billion people on Earth, regardless of race, tribe, religion, etc. And now Oman would seem to agree with Saifedean Ammous's conclusion that Bitcoin is halal, that is, it's morally permissible under Islamic law. If you want to learn a little bit more about this, Saif had a great podcast episode that I'll link to in the description notes below, where he talks about Bitcoin and Islamic finance. It's important to point out that this is yet another place where Ethereum is going to lose. We've seen that many Ethereum influencers have been touting staked ETH as equivalent to a bond that pays interest. And as we know, interest, or riba, is a big no-no in Islamic finance. I think the Western Christian word is usury. But here we have ETH influencers calling staked ETH a bond that you lend out to Ethereum that offers a real rate of return that earns a yield. This is not going to fly under Islamic law. So sorry, bankless guys, emphasizing those interest payments is not going to fly under Islamic finance. This is yet another reason that it's so nice to be invested in a pure neutral digital commodity like Bitcoin rather than any form of a bond. Meanwhile, how is the US government approaching Bitcoin mining? Well, at least the executive branch is totally clueless, as you might expect, almost like an Alzheimer's patient, if you pardon the metaphor. Earlier this year, we had to deal with this proposal of a 30% tax on electricity used for Bitcoin mining. This was fought off most recently. It, of course, could come back at some point. And I think this is going to be the pattern, that smaller nation states will move to a Bitcoin standard before larger nation states. These larger nation states are so successful and large and so high on themselves, they're really plagued by what you might call the incumbent problem. If you're big and established, you get lazy and begin to think that you have the divine right to everything. This is, of course, the same thing that happens in the corporate realm. Large corporations like Blockbuster, Kodak, Xerox often get out-innovated and displaced just because they stop innovating and they're very loath to cannibalize their own products. I think this applies to nation states as well. The question remains, will the US be the last country on earth to move to a Bitcoin standard? I certainly hope not, simply because Bitcoin is freedom money and it aligns perfectly with the US founding fathers' vision for the country, but it remains to be seen. Fortunately, Bitcoin and Bitcoiners are a highly mobile bunch and can choose to live where they are treated best. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.